it used to be that if you wanted a cargo e-bike, your first choice would probably be something like the RadWagon. Now, of course, competition's great, and here is a brand new bike that is competing directly with the RadWagon from Rad Power Bikes, the KBO Ranger. Is it any good? Keep on watching to find out more. All right, now before we take this bad boy on a test drive, let's talk about some of the differences. Now, the first thing that I never even knew what it was before I started looking at e-bikes is a defloppulator. What that is this little spring down here that centers the wheel if you turn it. This does not have it, so sometimes the wheel gets like this. It's a little bit annoying, not a big deal, but it does not have a defloppulator. Funny name, serious thing. This is an added accessory for the RadWagon. Has a very similar stem here. It's a little bit disillusioning when you are riding and turning the wheel, but this is not moving. The same thing would happen on this. Also has a nice bright light up in front, mechanical disc brakes. Now, one area that the KBO Ranger is better is it has an integrated battery. This has this ugly battery here. This actually has more juice. I'll put the exact specs on the video, but this has almost 100 more kilowatt hours of runtime, which is awesome. Now, the front handlebars are not as adjustable here as they are on this bad boy. You can move this a little bit more. This has a telescoping seat here. This has a pretty adjustable seat here, but not quite as many levels, but it also doesn't start out as low either. It does come standard with this rack built in and the running boards. The running boards and this cage are separate. It's 99 bucks for the running boards. I'll put the exact price of the cage here. But they both have 750 watt rear hub drive motors, and they both also have these center kickstands, which is awesome because you can load a kit on, you can load some gear on, and not have to worry about it tipping over. And it's completely centered. So those are some of the main differences. Of course, the price. This is $16.99. This is $19.99. That includes the running boards here. So this is a cheaper e-bike. It's also about 7 inches, not as long, 7 inches shorter, not as wide, whatever that right would be. It comes in white, black, and orange. This one comes in this nice dark blue and an orange. But are they any good? Let's take them for a spin and see how this bike compares to the RadWagon. We used this all last summer to take the kids to the pool, you know, put the stuff up front, put the kids up back. This bike is about 7 inches shorter, or not as wide, long. What would that be? I don't even know. It's 7 inches shorter this way. But does that make a difference? Let's go see how it performs. And they're about to come out with a cage that goes in the back just like this for kids. As soon as that comes out, we'll give that a shot too. It's not quite released yet, but let's go take this bad boy for a spin and see how it goes. All right, as I mentioned, this is the KBO Ranger. It's the first time I'm taking it for a spin. Let's see how it is. I love some of the other KBO bikes that we've tried, like the KBO Breeze. And this is a nice size e-bike. I like that it's not quite as long as the RadWagon 4. Let's just take this for a spin and see what I think. Of course, one of the best things about this, I love these center kickstands that come on some of these e-bikes. They are super nice to load stuff on, to get onto. You don't have to worry about like it tipping over nearly as much. Still can, but it's a nice extra feature. Now the handlebars on here are not quite adjustable as much as something like some of the other bikes we've tried. So I don't know if the seating is right yet, but we'll try it out and fix it as we go. So you can kind of push forward there, get you going. I'm gonna need to move this camera, I think. This is out of my way. All right, let's take us for a spin. It's really the first time I've ridden it besides just the driveway to make sure everything's put together right. But I really like how you're able to start on these e-bikes too. It's really easy. Check this out. That center kickstand makes a humongous, whoa. That's a pedal assist level 1, and that is very sensitive. Jeez Louise. Woo. All right, now this is on pedal assist level 1, and as I first tried out, it's very sensitive. Let's check this out. Whoa. Now, like most e-bikes, it does have a 7-speed transmission. Let's get this up a little bit higher. Knock up pedal assist a couple levels. Whoa, man, it just takes off. That's awesome. Going 13 miles an hour here really easily, really no problem whatsoever on this e-bike. Taking off. And to be honest with you, this is, like I said, this is my very first time riding this bike. You know, riding the RadWagon is a little bit shocking simply because it's so long. This is only 7 inches or so shorter, not as long, whatever the right words are, than the RadWagon 4. And you can really feel a big difference. Now this is my fault here. I've got a little, did not tighten up one of the fenders enough, so might hear a little bit of rattling. Not the worst thing ever, but it's all right. I might actually have to go home and fix that. It is annoying enough to have to fix. But maybe I'll just do a quick speed test here and see how it goes, and then we'll fix a little noisy fender. Can't believe that is the first time that has ever happened, but it's really easy to, you know, first time you do this is just not tighten something up and you just forget. I do recommend having a professional look at most of your bikes, unless you're really comfortable like I am after doing it several times and watching someone really critique my work here. But let's just see how this goes. Now I'm gonna put this in pedal assist level 5. I have not done any editing to the onboard computer. I think you can adjust this to be a class 3 e-bike, but it comes as a class 2. But let's just see how fast it goes. And I've got some geese up ahead, and I'm gonna scare them too. So we'll do that. 3, 2, 1, go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, 20, 21, 22, 22. No problem, 22 miles an hour. May go up a little bit faster off the block. Let's just go and see here. Going 13 miles an hour now. I'm not pedaling on, I'm just using the half twist throttle here. So let's just see here. All right, 12, 13, 15, 16, 17, 18, 21, 22. And you actually can hear it kick off right about 20 miles an hour. You know, I'm not sure how precise some of these e-bikes are with their measurements of mile per hour, but yeah, about 20, 21 miles, you could hear the miles per hour, you can feel the engine kick off. Now, once again, people always ask, can you go faster? Yes, of course, you can probably edit this to be a class 3 e-bike. You really don't need to, but if you can, if you want to. And obviously, gravity and physics are not gonna stop you from going any faster as well. I'm gonna run home real quick and fix this fender that I did incorrectly. Can't believe I did something wrong. My first mistake ever in life. Just kidding. Just kidding. It's kind of annoying, but I'll fix that and we'll get back on to filming. Woo! 20 miles an hour, no problem right there. Now going uphill a little bit, I did feel just not a whole lot of get up and go. It wasn't bad, but I'll keep on testing here and let you know if it is a problem. So let me fix this real quick and we'll get this show back on the... Let's go take this a little more of a spin here. All right, as I mentioned, just as getting out there, I noticed a little bit of a hesitancy when I was first starting to go uphill, but yeah, this no problem whatsoever going uphill. Even that steep hill you saw just a second ago, that is really no match whatsoever for these e-bikes. They just, yeah, they're so fun. Now this bike does not have a front suspension like some of the other e-bikes we've tried out. You know, it is more of a cargo bike. It's not really designed for off-roading. It does have some 3-inch wide tires, not the giant 4 or 4.5-inch tires that some of the other e-bikes do. Like, I'm going 25 miles an hour now, but that's just because of gravity doing its thing. But does not have a front suspension, and neither does the RadWagon 4. Now this e-bike is almost exactly the same weight as the RadWagon 4, which I was kind of surprised at, even though it is slightly smaller. Like I said, it's about 7 inches, not as long, and but it does have a more powerful battery pack that is attached to it. Now I'm gonna go take this someplace a little bit different here than I normally do. So I'm gonna look at the instructions real quick here.
Getting directions.
Now this bike handles the concrete and paved roads no problem whatsoever, but like I said, let's go take this a little bit off-roading. Not gonna do anything too crazy here, but let's just see how it goes, and yeah, let's take it for a ride. Woohoo! You'll hear it cut off there when it reaches 21 miles an hour. It's kind of interesting how it does that. It's pretty cool though. I'm pretty sure you can adjust this to be a class 3 bike like I said earlier, but going 20 miles an hour is really not a problem. I'm pretty sure it's gonna have me turn up in here. Let's see. Now it is just a little bit muddy, and that's all right. It's gonna be a little muddy. Whoops. That's why you have lens guards on your cameras, boys and girls. And this is handling off-road just fine. Obviously it's not too bumpy, too crazy, nothing nuts over here. One of these unique days in Colorado where you can see the lakes being iced over, but you can wear short sleeves. There we go. Whoa, whoa. That was the least amazing jump on an e-bike ever made. Now this is called the Ranger, and I think that KBO needs to enlist me to come up with bike names for them, because the Breeze is not even their lightest bike. The Hurricane is, which I think would be heavier than a Breeze, but who am I to judge? Whoa. Now, for those of you who don't know, this is a invisible selfie stick, and what that means is it's invisible, but it is a stick. And so, oops. So what does happen though is if I get on a trail and it's off to the side, then people can hit with it, which no one wants to be hit with a selfie stick. Now KBO for this e-bike has upgraded the LCD display, which is a nice step up from the previous version. Just nothing crazy, but just nice, a little upgrade. Now that little hill right there is about the only time I've had any sort of issues with the throttle. It's almost like I'm not in any gear when I'm in pedal assist level 5 and just hitting the pedal a little bit like that. It's pretty crazy. Kind of feels a little bit like I'm in, I don't know, like first gear almost, because it's just going so fast already. Man, it's like this almost could be a higher gear. Just takes off. I love it. It's so fun. Now I am testing a couple of mid-drive bikes here coming up, so make sure you hit the subscribe button and I'll give you my review. But one of the key things that people say about mid-drive bikes is that they have a little bit more of a natural feel because it's actually integrated into where you're turning the pedals. And I will say this is a little bit too sensitive for my taste. You know, I still think the Rad Rover 5 is probably the best, or Rad Rover 6 is probably the best in terms of natural feeling when you're pedaling. But this isn't terrible. It's not jerky whatsoever. You know, some of them are kind of jerky. This is a nice little extra oomph that you get. But like going up really high here, I mean, I barely have to even touch it to get going, which is fine. I'm in pedal assist level 5. That's what I should expect, right? Back on a bridge, back on a bridge. Gonna go backing on a bridge, hey, hey. Once again, I am super lucky to be in such a bike. Friendly city is Colorado. Testing out all these e-bikes. That's a lot of fun. Explore the city. And testing e-bikes. Sorry, I keep pausing in mid-sentence. My GPS is telling me something in my pocket. I forgot to mount the phone up here to get a better look. It's kind of a weird feeling when it does shut off at 20 miles an hour. Like, look, I'll get up here and watch. I'll get up there and then it's gonna pause. And then start back up again. I know a lot of people don't like e-bikes on trails because they are a nuisance, but just don't be a jerk. But I kind of think it's funny when people are huffing and puffing on these trails because I'm like, I'm just cruising, man. I'm having a good day being outside in the sunshine. I cannot complain. And running on a trail too, that's even worse. Ugh. I mean, I'm pedaling, no pedal assist coming on really, except for just little bursts of it here and there. It's pretty cool. All right, now if Fort Collins is known for one thing, it's being a really bike-friendly place to be. If it's known for another thing, it's known for some of our breweries. And I am just a short jaunt away from 2 incredibly awesome breweries. I'm not really that big of a beer drinker, but I thought it'd be fun at least to ride my bike over here and experience the beer culture with all the other fine people of this world. So this fine people here is the Odell's Brewery. It is makers of some really fine brews, but as you can see, it is a nice day here in Fort Collins, Colorado, and everybody is out. This bike would be perfect for just hitting up some breweries. They also have a wine bar now, which is over here. It's pretty cool how that all is just right off the trails for us. All right, and then the next brewery is right up here somewhere. I don't know exactly where it's at. All right, as I mentioned, the wonderful Odell's, not to be confused with O'Doul's, who has the famous 90 shilling beers here. It is a beautiful day here in Fort Collins, and so all the lovely people are out and about. It's actually a pretty family-friendly environment where people can hang out. Of course, a ton of other electric bikes out here, including Spin, which is our own, think of it like Lime type deal. People in Fort Collins actually do stop for e-bike or for bikes in general, so that is a major positive that you do not get everywhere you go. And then I am taking you to the more famous New Belgium Brewery. And their famous bike is the Fat Tire. No coincidence. It is named after a bike in this bike-friendly city here. Now I imagine the New Belgium Brewery will also be super packed. Once again, it's one of the first nice days after a kind of crappy winter here. I mean, not crappy, but just Coloradans like to be outside, and you know, when it's super cold out, you can't be outside. You're looking for an excuse, and I think the breweries are one really good excuse that people like to. This is actually the world headquarters for New Belgium. They have some other plants where they do brew the beer as well, but you're gonna see a bunch of people out here just having a good time, and it's a beautiful day. It is a cool spot to hang out and go on a brewery tour if you're ever here. It's pretty cool, huh? You can just look over here and see all the bikes lined up inside, which is cool because it makes a nice and easy, safe place to take your bike. Check all those bikes out. Again, I don't want to be that jerk with the long selfie stick here, so I'm gonna move this in. Sorry for having to see my face so much this journey. Sorry to disappoint you. Want to see a little more of the bike? I'll obviously cut in here with some other parts of the bike. All right, let's talk about the rear rack. Now, one of the more interesting parts about this e-bike is that it has a longer rear rack. And that rear rack, it doesn't feel like it's even there. It doesn't feel like it's really any longer than any other e-bike. If you look at the RadWagon 4, the front is really long. I mean, there's a lot of space in between where you're sitting and where the handlebars are. That's just how it kind of works. And so this bike does have an interesting rear rack system because it's pretty easy to not feel like it's even there. I mean, it is a decent sized e-bike. I mean, this is a pretty decent e-bike with running boards, integrated rear light that should light up if I'm using my brakes, which it does. Check that out. But it doesn't feel like it's as big as something like the RadWagon 4. And it's, like I've said, a little bit shorter, but it's a nice, comfortable bike. I'm actually really pleasantly surprised. I also like that they've updated this to include a new LCD display. If there wasn't anything wrong with the other one, it just looked a little bit dated. This is backlit, which is good. The only couple things that I would give this, minor marks on is one, no deflopulator. I didn't even know what a deflopulator was, but now I know why it's important. Mostly when you're putting it on the kickstand. And the other thing I'd give this just not a high marks on is a little bit less of it's a super aggressive pedal assist level here. But this bike doesn't feel like riding like on an ice skate. That's what I said that the Rad Rover 6 felt like. It did feel like riding on a ice skate all the time. And nothing wrong with an ice skate, but it's not usual. It's kind of like the minivan of e-bikes. If that's the minivan of e-bikes, then maybe this is like the SUV of e-bikes, but it's not super off-roady. You can take this off-road as I showed you earlier, but it's nothing crazy either way. It has a range of about 30 or 40 miles, weighs about 77 pounds, and has a top speed of 20 miles an hour using either pedal assist or throttle. It does come with a charger. It takes a couple of hours to fully charge. The bike's battery is integrated down there, which is really nice. And it also makes it look a lot less like an e-bike and a lot more like a regular bike. Obviously, this rear rack behind me here is not something you find on a regular bike, but it is a nice touch. Now, I don't know if both kids will be able to fit on it like they do the RadWagon 4, but I will try it out and post videos when I do, because it's a lot of fun of a little bike. I really like KBO bikes. They are relatively new. The only bike they made I did not care for was the Hurricane. It was a single speed e-bike, but I'm also not their target market. My father-in-law uses the Breeze all the time. He loves it. He has the non-step-through version. And my sister-in-law has the KBO Breeze step-through version, and they really like it. You can save a good chunk of money over something like Rad Power bikes. If you really want that extra couple inches of room, I don't think that much of it is in the back that you're missing. I think a lot of it is in this area right here. But yeah, cannot complain. Pretty sure that dude over there was just taking a leak right before I came by. That's all good. This e-bike was pretty easy to assemble. I do love when you have that center kickstand on this. It makes for assembly on any bike so much better than another type of kickstand, because you can just kind of set it up and it makes it easier to put the front tire on, get it locked in. The only mistake I made was the fenders. I did a poor job putting on the fenders. That is 100% on me though. So don't blame them, blame me on that. Now, as I mentioned in the intro, does have attach points for a basket that you can put up here. It is a little disillusioned when you do have a basket, because when you turn the handlebars, the basket will not turn because it's on the straight shaft. Not a big deal, but it takes a little bit to get your mind used to doing that. Now, who is this e-bike for? Now, when I first got the RadWagon 4, I had all sorts of people stop me. I mean, obviously, people use it to take their kids places, but one lady that works in downtown Fort Collins actually uses her RadWagon 4 to commute. And especially with gas prices as high as they are at the time of recording this here in mid-March of 2022, yeah, gas prices are expensive, and you can save some dough by riding your bike. I mean, I just went on this little 10-mile trip, and I mean, I'm not even taking 1 bar off the battery, which is awesome. And you can save some money on gas. You don't need to drive a car everywhere, especially when it's a nice day like today. You can ride an e-bike somewhere. If you need to haul stuff, this would be a great e-bike. It's got a payload of 400 pounds. Yes, you heard me, 400 pounds. That's more than the RadWagon 4, which has a payload of 350 pounds. It has a 750 watt motor, which is more than enough for what you need to do. I have had no problems riding this anywhere, and it's a heck of a lot more fun than getting in a car, finding a parking spot, paying for parking, and you could even go and visit a brewery and ride your bike back. It's pretty awesome. Once again, even though this is not really an off-road bike, I am having no problems on this little bit of a gravel road here. It doesn't have those front and rear fenders included, which is nice. One thing that, a little tiny thing that I also did not like about it is on the RadWagon 4, it does have some plastic. Oh, here's my really lame jump. I'm gonna go in again, okay, ready? Whoa! Lamest jump ever. Take 2. It does have some plastic that covers the wheel, so kiddos don't get their feet stuck in the wheels. Now, there's a lot more covering in the back sides of this, obviously, than some other e-bikes. Whoa. Ugh. But it is a small thing that I would be a little bit worried about with young kids, especially kids that don't listen. I don't know if you've ever met any of those, or you definitely don't have any, right? But I would be a little bit worried about that. But overall, this is a really good alternative to the RadWagon 4. Like I said, the RadWagon 4 is a little bit longer. It weighs about the same, has slightly less battery capacity, and it's about $400 or $500 more expensive. So if you can handle a little bit less room in the back, I'll put the exact measurements, I'll cut in here and show you what that is, but that's the biggest difference, is just the overall length of this e-bike versus the RadWagon 4 and the price. So if you want to save some money, this is not a bad option. I've had other KBO e-bikes I've tried it and really liked. But what other questions or comments do you have? Please let me know below. And you know what? I hope to see you again real soon, hopefully on the trails. Take care.